Rookie minicamp has come and gone for the Green Bay Packers. So on today's show, we are going to break down the winners and losers after we got to see all the undrafted free agents, the guys in there for tryouts, and of course the 8 draft picks finally in the facilities with the uniforms on, going through a couple of drills. And I'm really excited to break it all down for you guys. Welcome to the Packers Report. I am your host, Joey Petersen. If you guys had no clue that this past weekend was rookie minicamp, and you guys kind of want to be a little bit more in the know, first off, subscribe here at the channel. Second off, here's all the dates. Everything you can expect over the next couple of months. OTAs will start at the end of this month, run until early June. Then mandatory minicamp goes from June 10th to the 12th. Training camp is yet to be announced. However, I'm projecting it to be around July 21st. That's the 4th Monday in July. Same as last year, it was July 22nd. I need you guys to do me a favor, okay? Let me know if you are so excited for football to be back by liking today's video, okay? Do that if you cannot wait for it to be August, for it to be September, and there's, some meaningful football to be watched, some Green Bay Packers back in Lambeau Field. If you're just like me and cannot wait for that to happen, do me one big favor and show me by liking today's video. Let's start with the winners, as we always do. And we'll start with a guy who we spent a lot of time talking about over the last couple of weeks, and we're not going to stop talking about him, okay? I can promise you that. That is Mr. Matthew Golden, the 23rd overall pick, the first-round selection for your Green Bay Packers, the wide receiver out of Texas. And just after everything I saw of Golden, whether it was out there on the field running routes, obviously not full speed, or dealing with coaches, or at the podium answering questions, it just seems that he's got every single thing you could want. Not only in a player, not only in a wide receiver, but a guy you spent a first-round pick on, okay? And what I love about Golden is that he seems to have a little bit of a different and more unique perspective just on life because of everything that he's gone through. And he expressed that in talking to the press. It was times when we couldn't pay for a room, so we stayed in front of a Walmart in Brenham, Texas. I reflect to that whenever I'm playing football. Just keeps me motivated to keep going. In 2023, I had a season-ending injury. That was the first time football got taken away from me. It was just frustrating. I didn't understand why it happened to me. He's just got a fresh perspective, a unique perspective, one that you cannot just manufacture. One that only comes from a guy who's dealt with some really hard times in his life, and now he's looking back, reflecting on all that, sitting there as a first-round draft pick to a team that he's automatically, in my opinion, the best wide receiver on in a really good offense, and he's just incredibly thankful to be here, and that comes off in his humble attitude, in his humility. And also what I love about this last weekend is things get stripped down to the basics. And it's funny to see these guys who are coming off of years where they catch for almost 1,000 yards and they're getting walked through the route tree, right? Now, this is all a necessity. This is all everybody's saying, from the passing game coordinator in Vrabel to the wide receiver coach. Everybody's saying we're going to strip it all down. We're going to teach from the ground up. We're going to build it up. Obviously, we know that you know how to run these routes. We're going to teach you how we like to run them in our certain route trees. It's just great to see him out there in a Green Bay Packers uniform. And from everything I heard from him and heard from everybody covering it, I think he's going to be a star. I need you to do something for me. If you agree, predict his stat line for 2025 down in the comment section. Give me catches, yards, touchdowns, and do it right now. The number 2 winner on today's list is head coach Matt LaFleur. And this is for many reasons. Number 1, he's just got a lot of really good players on this roster now. And after how the first 3 rounds went, you get your left tackle, which many believe is the guy for the future, and Anthony Belton the second. You get 2 wide receivers, one in the first round with Matthew Golden, one in the third round with Savion Williams, 2 very different receivers, built very differently, built to do very different things as well. As an offensive-minded coach, as Matt LaFleur is, he's the biggest winner of the month, okay? Because his football team and his side of the football, although, yes, he is the head coach, it's just got a whole lot better. He speaks on Matthew Golden, Savion Williams this past week, and he said when you get them in the building, you get to work with them on a daily basis. You see how fast they pick things up. Inevitably, there's going to be something that's going to surprise you in a positive light. Yet they do really well. You recognize, oh shoot, maybe I didn't recognize that just off the tape. So I think it's all about just that process of working together and kind of growing together. And I'm really happy for Matt LaFleur that he gets these two new chess pieces in his offense, because we've talked about it all offseason long. Those three were not cutting it. They're good receivers. None of them could step up and be a wide receiver one that this team and that Matt LaFleur so desperately needed. And now you get a guy in here, in Matthew Golden, who caught for almost 1,000 yards last year, 17 yards a catch, found pay dirt 9 times for Texas, came alive in their biggest moments. And you get a guy in Savion Williams, who had a really solid career at TCU. And each of his last 3 seasons in 2022, 2023, and 2024 showed that he could do different things, be used in different ways, has different things to his game. When you're an offensive-minded coach, and those two guys just fall in your hands, fall in your lap, you, my friend, are a massive, massive winner. The third one is friendship. Who doesn't love some good friendship? And it was obvious that this draft class is a tight one. Not just because they went to school together, which is the case for Matthew Golden, Baron Sorrell, but also Golden speaks on another play. Let's start with what he had to say about his good friend Baron Sorrell, though. He got drafted. Didn't know how things were going to turn out, so I definitely wanted to see him one time before he goes, and I go wherever I went. The way things turned out, I guess we're going to see each other a lot more. That was the first guy I connected with when I got to Texas. To be on the same team with him, it's truly cool. And apparently, those two rode to practice together every single day. And now guess what? They're going to be teammates again in Green Bay. And Matthew Golden also talked a really good bit about Savion Williams. He said trying to get the offense down together and just going through walkthroughs and stuff like that, it just feels like full circle, Golden added. And have somebody that I know, we're going to push each other each and every day. So holding him accountable, he's holding me accountable. And I just think this is a phenomenal thing for 2 young wide receivers. 2 guys that are going to have each other's back. 2 guys that I think are going to be the epitome of iron sharpens iron. And everything is so much easier when you have somebody to do it with, somebody that's holding you accountable. That's exactly what those 2 guys are going to be for each other, okay? And if they keep that same attitude for the entirety of their career, for the entirety of their first 2 years in the league, they're going to make the most of it, okay? Speaking of friendship, I need you to do one thing for me, okay? If you've got a best friend who is also a Green Bay Packers fan, but has never seen the channel, never watched the video, share this video with your friend. Tell them to subscribe and join us right here at the Packers Report. Let's round out the winners with a guy you've probably never heard of. He's a Canadian quarterback named Taylor Elgersma. And I don't even know if I'm saying that right, but I think I am. Andy Herman had this to tweet out after a couple of just hours of rookie minicamp. Elgersma's arm is in fact live. Can't confirm. Wouldn't be surprised if they liked him enough to be the number 4 quarterback in camp. He's set to have another tryout with the Bills next week and was just taken in the CFL draft, 18th overall by Winnipeg. Matt LaFleur went on to speak about the Canadian quarterback. We had him in on a 30 visit, so we got an opportunity to sit him down. Another guy that loves football. And then just watching him throw an hour ago, he's got a live arm. So there's a lot to like about him. And what I love about Matt LaFleur is he just loves to get down and be in the trenches with those guys who are even just there as a tryout, right? And that's what makes the great coaches great. You could see him right here coaching him up right at like the 8-yard line, doing his 3-step drop, talking to him, talking him through it. Because I think Matt LaFleur might see something in this kid. And it's not hard to. He had a phenomenal this past year. 73.8% completion percentage, 4,252 yards, 35 touchdowns. Sure, he's got to go down on the interceptions just a bit. But he's a winner from this past weekend because even if he isn't the 4th quarterback on this roster going into minicamp, which he very well might be, I think he upped his stock a little bit for this next Bills tryout. You know, I think it's just good for him to have had this past weekend, performed the way he did, and made a lot of people notice him. Let's go to losers now. We're going to start this one off with Romeo Doubs. And Romeo Doubs wasn't there because it's just rookie minicamp. So you ask, why is he a loser? Well, he's set to become a free agent in 2026. And after everything I heard from coaches talking about them, from players talking at the podium, everything about Savion Williams and Matthew Golden points to two things. They've got incredible skill, and they've got a really, really good head on their shoulders, okay? Now, Romeo Doubs has incredible skill. He still, I believe, could be a really good wide receiver in this league, but I think we'd all be kidding ourselves if that suspension he took last year, that one-game suspension for not, being at meetings or practice, that probably didn't do well for the coaching staff. That probably still leaves somewhat of a sour taste in their mouth. Now they have two new talented wide receivers who, by all accounts, seem like just really, really good people, good teammates, and coachable. Might not be good news for Romeo Doubs as he goes into a contract year. Predict it for me down below. Let's fast forward to next summer. Will the Packers extend Romeo Doubs' contract? Let me know your answer by giving me a yes or a no. The second loser is Tulu Griffin. And as we all know, Tulu Griffin is no longer a part of the Green Bay Packers. Matt Schneidman tweeted this out. Packers release wide receiver Tulu Griffin, which opens a roster spot for Trey Hendrickson, Aaron Donald, or J.J. Watt. And Tulu Griffin and I actually, funny enough, I don't want to say we go way back, but this year I worked at Mississippi State, he was a Mississippi State Bulldog. Him and I are very familiar with each other, and he's a good player, but at the end of the day, we knew after they drafted two wide receivers that there were going to be some cuts that had to be made in this wide receiver room. There was just too many bodies, okay? It did not make enough sense. We all knew that going into training camp and going into the season, there were going to be even more cuts made. Tulu Griffin just happened to be the first one. And then last off, let's keep talking about wide receivers. All three wide receivers on this list, I'm just now realizing. Julian Fleming. He was set to be an undrafted free agent that signed with Green Bay. Originally, after the NFL draft, he's a wide receiver out of Penn State. However, he failed his physical due to a recent hip injury, was not even at minicamp, so technically I guess you could say he doesn't even really belong on this list. But still, this was a guy that had a couple of pretty good years at Penn State. I was excited about the UDFA signing, was curious to see what he'd be able to do in minicamp, if he could turn some heads, make some plays. Unfortunately, he didn't even get the chance to get there because of the hip injury, failed physical, no longer signed with the Green Bay Packers. I want to know, down below, name a UDFA that you think has the best chance to make a roster, okay? Julian Fleming was one for just a split second, but I want you to tell me down below which one has the best shot. As always, lock us in right now here at the Packers Report. I do appreciate every single one of you guys for tuning in every single day. We try our hardest to give you the best and most constant coverage of your favorite team right here. So we'll see you next time.